preparing to live stream the meeting on Facebook. And yes, live stream. And we're live.
We are live.
Okay, then. All right. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon to all those watching us live from Australia.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Akshay.
Thank you for being here. So now I'll begin with I'll introduce you to our people, all those who may be watching now, and those who may watch the recording later. Okay, so once again, good morning. My next guest under SAMVAAD Live is Charisma Judge, if I have pronounced it correctly.
No, you're perfectly right.
Okay. So she's a successful entrepreneur and also my dear cousin, and I call her Cherry D. That's Cherry D, me, and our other set of siblings. We've been companions of our childhood adventures, confidants of our secrets, and pillars of unwavering support. So going back to Cherry D, so she's an entrepreneur and co-founder of VetEducation. We get her to talk about what it is all about. A globally recognized and highly respected education provider for veterinary professionals. Alongside her husband, Philip Judge, she has nurtured this company into an industry leader in the field of veterinary continuing professional development. Wow. Her dedication and visionary leadership have propelled VetEducation to the remarkable success it is today. But her accomplishments extend far beyond the realm of business. In her own words, she loves three things passionately. Number one, her work, the domesticity of life, which is being Philip's partner and being mom to three, their daughter Aisha, their dog Vlad, and their cat Tia. Lovely names.
Thanks.
And third, hiking and sharing these adventures with others. So it was after a personal setback that she rediscovered her passion for walking in nature and the profound effect it had on her healing and mental health. She's now a passionate advocate for the great outdoors. She firmly believes that spending time in nature is crucial for maintaining optimal mental health. With that, over to you, Cherry D. Would you like to say a few words before we get into our lovely conversation?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Akshay, for having me. This is an absolute honor to be here and share my journey and my passion for walking and hiking and being out in nature with your audience. So I'm really excited about what you have in store.
Absolutely. My pleasure. All right, so let's get started. So once again, welcome to SAMVAAD Live. So why don't you tell our viewers about your journey so far, journey as a vet, and then moving to your different roles?
Well, you know the journey in Mumbai. So I started my veterinary journey there, and I did my vet school in Mumbai, and it was some of the most fun educational journeys of my life. Just so much practical work, the making of lifelong friends, and it was wonderful. So from Mumbai, I did my graduation there. I graduated as a vet in Mumbai, and then I came to Australia to do my master's in small animal medicine. And it was there that I kind of was at crossroads, because as I was doing my master's, I was kind of not really sure if I wanted to if I wanted to be a clinical vet, if I wanted to be in industry, or if I wanted to be in research. And we all come to crossroads. I was at crossroads at that point in time. And I ended up actually continuing to study and do my master's. But at the same time, I got an opportunity to work at an emergency center where I was, where I helped with continuing education. Where I helped my husband, and who is now my husband, with continuing education. And actually, that passion, the seed of our company started from the passion from there, in terms of making continuing education more convenient for everyone. So those were the humble beginnings, really, and that was way back in 2006, 2007, which is when we started the company.
Excellent. And I remember way back in 2007, 2008, we were mentioning that we are starting something, and there was almost no one in that industry, in the vet industry.
No. So in the world, there were probably three companies three institutes doing the same thing. We were like two others, so we were the third. And so we were the first in Australia for sure to introduce webinars, like continuing education in the form of live lectures. And distance education has been around for a long time coming, but we wanted to change it and make it a lot more interactive and a lot more back and forth, and try and create a community around it. So that has always been VetEducation's goal, to make it more accessible and convenient, and at the same time bring quality education to our peers.
Excellent. So you guys are the pioneers of vet education, I would say.
Yes, and I remember it was not always. I remember when I announced that we were starting this, or we had started it, to my family. It was there were there were a lot of why can't you just be normal and start a practice?
Yes, I can imagine.
Yes. So, but no, it's perseverance. I think if you have passion for anything, and you have a vision, most importantly, and you work towards it, you can make anything succeed.
Absolutely, I love that. All right. Now we'll go slightly deeper into this topic. So, what prompted you to start a virtual vet education company? I know you said that you had plans, you were at crossroads, but then what prompted you to get into this? As I mentioned, it indeed was a risk, considering that
It was.
online education was still in its nascent stage.
It was, but it was more at the time. It was the passion for. It was a passion project for us. Australia is really big, and continuing education is generally, at least thinking, even now in 2023, but in 2007 it was more so than now. Continuing education, physical continuing education events were specifically limited to the major cities, and not everyone could attend, even in that time we were living in Melbourne, so everything was a 2-hour drive, a 3-hour drive. Now in Mumbai, that's okay. But in Australia, that's like going into another township. It's not viewed with a great deal of enthusiasm. I doubt it is in Mumbai either. But and so I saw a need, Philip and I did, and we thought that surely there's a better way, because continuing education is compulsory for vets and vet nurses, but at least veterinarians in Australia and New Zealand. And so it took a lot of effort on our part to actually get that continuing education by traveling somewhere. Then someone has to have your back in the practice and things like that. So anyway, long story short, we thought surely there's a better way, and that started this little project that became bigger than Ben-Hur. It started off as a little hobby to start off with, and it just snowballed within 6 months.
Excellent, lovely. So that's about work, and we all know that all work and no play makes us dull. So how do you unwind yourself after a hectic day at work?
That has changed over the years. So I don't think I knew what that meant in the in the first probably 3-ish or 4 years of our business. There was no unwinding because Aisha was born. The business we created VetEducation in 2007. Aisha was born in 2010, and as new parents, who were also working, like I was working full time. In fact, Aisha was 10 days old,
Wow.
and I had her to my chest, and I was in a lecture, and I was
Oh,
hoping
man.
and praying that she doesn't squeak, because as I said, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't want a little, it looks really unprofessional. But that was my life then, and unwinding for me at that stage, at that in those moments, meant just sleeping where I could.
Mm.
But you know, so sleeping was my unwinding then, between 2007 and 2000 and probably 11-ish.
Right.
And then my husband Phil, who is, you'd know, he's an incredible runner. He's super fit, and he was getting, really worried about me, him and his mom. And so for my birthday in 2011, they presented me with a bike, a little cycle, and a little bike seat at the back, so that I could ride with Aisha. And they pretty much kicked me out of the house. They said, no, you have to get away from that computer.
Correct.
And I was given no choice. So, I thought, oh gosh, with a great, with grumbling, I kind of toddled out, and I loved it. Absolutely loved. It was just the medicine I needed. It like clears your brain. It just, many years later, I read this little statement that you move your body and you change your mind. And it holds true even now. It held true then, and it holds true now. So yeah, to unwind, I ride, I walk now. It's now it looks even more different. I hike a lot, so I definitely include walks in my unwinding regime at least 3 to 4 times a week. But I love reading, so that's what I do. Before going to bed, I'll sit down and read.
Lovely.
Nonfiction. Love nonfiction.
That's something that is something that I remember as a child you would love to.
Yeah. Sorry, not nonfiction, fiction. I do nonfiction as podcasts, but fiction for bed. I love it.
Absolutely. Super. Yeah. And what about self-care? So how do you practice self-care? So through self-compassion, or is there any other technique that you
Again, that's changed a lot through the years. I don't think I knew what self-care was in the early stages of life. I think because you don't think about it much till you have to.
Right.
And so right now for me, self-care is looking after me first, because and that means health, and my mental health, my well-being, because if I'm good, I can then give
Absolutely
to my family. I have lots. If my little bucket is full, then I can donate.
Yes, absolutely.
So self-care to me right now is looking after me first, and I don't mean that in a selfish way. I just mean that in being able to get out, do all the things I love. And for me, automatically, that means including family in it. So I will, if I go for a hike, I take Aisha with me, or if I want to go for a bike ride, I'll go with Philip, or I will invite friends over for a pizza night. That's self-care to me, because it's about community. If you're happy, you're automatically giving that joy, you're sharing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I kind of love this, because this is something that I always tell to people that I work with. It's that self-care, it begins from within.
Definitely.
You need to focus on yourself first.
Yeah, and it's a hard lesson to learn, because it doesn't come easily to everyone, because people assume self-care being is servitude in some ways, but it's not. It's actually looking after yourself, because
Absolutely.
that the ability to give deepens when you look after yourself.
Absolutely. I love this. And now we'll talk about your walking club. So how did you go about starting it? What was it like? And how many members do you have today?
Oh my Lord, I haven't even checked the last count. Well, it actually, so in 2013, I was 37,
Hmm.
and so exactly 10 years. And actually exactly 10 years this month, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And it absolutely shook my world. Exercise was not ever a priority then, and being just the three of us, me, Philip, and Aishu, in and of course a dog and a cat at that time, in a pretty much in a country with no family. I mean, friends become your family. But a lot of things changed for us. Our focus wasn't on community at the time. It was on us, just the three of us. It was pretty hard because suddenly you realize how alone you are. And it also, I think when you come face to face with mortality, your priorities change completely, suddenly, overnight. All that, I've got to work. No, I can't watch TV with you, Phil. I've got this email to send. So all that changes. Suddenly, it was like, yep, I'll do that. This is more, you are more important. Suddenly there was a massive shift, a 180-degree shift. And so in many ways, I'm very grateful to what happened. It's never a good thing, but it was great. It was great because it changed everything for me. It changed the way I live. Luckily I went through a mastectomy and treatment, and everything was fine. And I suddenly realized that something needed to change. So then between 2013 and 2016, I was finding myself, besides trying to get fit and rehab, to get strong, I was trying to work out that, if a situation like this ever comes up again, I want to be able to say that I have friends to lean on to. Friends are my family, and I have. So generating a community, building a community became my priorities, not just for me, but for my family, because here we are in a lovely little regional town, and you could barely say we had two good friends, but I wanted to change that narrative. I wanted to say, we have two awesome friends that we can call on in the middle of the night if we need to. So in that process, I found walking in general, because it was just me and Aisha. Philip had ramped up his training for his ultra marathons, and so we just join him while he was training. Me and Aisha would walk in the national parks, and as we got fitter, as I got fitter, as she got fitter walking, and we started loving it, I realized that I would actually really enjoy the company instead of having my husband pass me by. So that's what triggered the start of Let's Walk Townsville. I created this walking group, much to the chagrin of my husband then. He was saying, oh, gee, I don't know about this. You're walking with this random stranger. I said, oh, it'll be fine. Don't be so, people are nice like that. They're genuinely, most people at their heart are nice. Oh, what if you get an axe murderer who just rocks up? I said, yeah, like that's going to happen. Anyway, long story short, started the group in 2016, and it absolutely must have filled a need, because I have never walked alone since, ever. There are about 2,000 members now on the meetup group, which is where we host the events. And there are, something like 3-ish on Facebook. But it's not about those numbers. And I don't care about how many are members. What I care about is that we have become a community now. And out of that, I'm not the only one who hosts walks. There are others who also lead their own walks within the group. But I think in small ways and small stories, when we were chatting about this, remember about that story I told you about this guy whose life completely changed, his intentions of suicide changed just by joining a walk with us. And it is not me or someone else, it is just the action of being out in nature. And I realized when he told me the story and how he said, "Oh, Cherry, your group really saved my life." It wasn't the group. I think it was, I just realized at that moment that, small actions kind of have long lasting impact on others. And it has had it on me. Like even when I'm having a bad day, I just head out.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I really liked what you said. It's not about the numbers, right? And I'm glad you said that, because what matters at the end of the day is what is the impact that you're having on that on people.
Yeah, I
The
mean, when
number
we
of
go
people
out
you
for a walk,
touched. So yeah,
true. And when we go out for a walk, it's not the 2,000 coming with me. It's the 5 or the 10.
absolutely.
And in that moment, those, the company, the laughter, the stories you tell, the 5 or the 10 who are with you, I just relish that. It's there's so much give and take and sharing. It's just amazing. You just come back feeling incredibly, just complete.
I've seen those photos. I follow you on Facebook. So yeah.
And it's totally new.
What's the group called on Facebook? Sorry. What's the group called on Facebook? It's Let's Walk.
Let's Walk Townsville. And so as it's been wonderful.
I can imagine. Yeah, the next time I'm in Australia, I'll definitely join you there.
Oh, you've got no choice. I'll take you for a private tour of places.
Even though I'm a lazy guy, but yeah,
I'll take you for a short walk.
Oh yeah, that's
2 hours.
Oh, all right. Yes. And all of this is possible only with the help of a strong mindset, empowered mindset. So what would be your recipe for creating an empowered mindset?
Oh, gee. I think life is trial and error, and you don't end up, not everyone comes out with an empowered mindset.
Yeah.
I think you work towards it.
Yes.
How do I answer that question? There's so many answers to that one question. Okay, there's so many facets to that one question, to be very honest. But I think it's very important, I feel, and this is just my experience, and this is what I can share, to listen to your heart and ignore other people's opinions and expectations of what you should want out of life, or what you should be. And I think if you have a clarity in that, it paves the path. It makes it easier for you to practice, a belief in yourself, and slowly and act on that belief. Very important to. It's easy to say, "Oh, I don't want to listen to, I'm going to ignore all those naysayers," but then do something about it. Put it into action and prove them wrong.
Absolutely.
And I think, when you get these little wins that confirm that alleviate your self-doubt, little by little by little, it leads to you believing in yourself more. I think self-doubt is always going to be there at the back of your mind for certain things. It's always going to be, even when you're at the peak of your success, there'll be a little imposter sitting there in the corner. It's up to you to kind of try and squash it.
Right. Exactly. Absolutely. So, and I remember when people ask me, right, can you give a talk on empowering mindset or changing the mindset? So I'm like, yeah, fine, but why do you want to change the mindset? No, we want
Yeah.
them to, just focus on their work. So in reality, nobody is interested in, changing other people's mindset. It's the corporates are like, "Arey, you change your mindset, you'll help us get more revenue. More revenue means more profit. More profit
Yeah.
means higher salaries for you." So
Yes.
people, all,
Yes.
all people want is obviously at the end of the day, it's the profitability.
Profit. I know, and I think it's it's wrong to assume that changing your mindset
Yeah,
changes everything. It has to come from within. I think
absolutely.
unless you can't force it
Yeah,
on someone.
no,
I mean, how many times have we been in a position where we've advised friends on where you can actually see frustratingly the answers for them. They
correct.
just have to change their
Yeah,
attitude.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you
But
said it.
but
It
but
starts
if it
from within.
doesn't come from them, you can't change anyone's
No,
attitude for
no.
them. It has to be in self-serving, or whether they need to want it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even if it means embracing your anxiety, just do that. It's okay. Perfectly fine.
Definitely.
Perfectly
And
fine.
as I said, self-empowerment is an empowered mindset is a journey.
Absolutely.
You have to, you'll get there at some point.
It is. It is. Thank you for saying that. Yes. But, yeah. So now we'll get back to the topic on helping people bounce back in life. So based on what you've said and based on what I know, you indeed are a strong and resilient individual. So what, according to you, should people? What strategies should people use to bounce back or bounce forward? I like to use the word bounce forward
Forward.
in life, and when life knocks them down. Yeah.
Well, I can only speak from personal experience, really. I
Yeah.
guess, when there have been instances in life where I have felt the world closing in on me, like, my diagnosis, and there have been other times in business, where you lose something, and or in life in general, family sometimes can cause that, where you know I I have always um thought to get out of it. I've always had this ideal situation, um image, like, what would I want, what do I want the situation to be, or how do I want to be, as opposed to what I'm feeling right now. And and almost in all cases, it's like being calm, not having my heart rate that high all the time, because it'll lead to something, or not feeling angry all the time, depending on the situation, really, like not having, not thinking of the things that are worrying you, like not have that seep into your everyday, every moment. And so the strategies I use is to uh, strive towards to have this image of what do I want the other version of this cherry to be, if not what I am now.
Right, right.
And then how do I get there? And I fight my way to find
Mm,
that cherry,
right.
and it is through, I listen to meditation podcasts. I try everything. For me right now, I just leave everything, go for a walk.
Mhm.
It's easy. The walking trails are very close to home. I don't even have to drive there. Or I read a book. I get lost in fiction. And it's interesting. I mean, you try everything that works. I've tried things that have not worked, but for me, it's fiction. I'm not a very good meditator, I'll tell you now. I'm awful at it, actually. But it allows me to just get lost in the stories. I listen to sleep stories, or I listen to general mindset podcasts, and it really helps listening to things from other people's perspectives. I chat with friends. I basically organize a walk that always leads in food. I mean, it always boils down to walks and food. So you're getting the theme there. But
Yes.
generally, for me, I find family, community really help. So I think one of the key strategies is to know what you want and work towards that. And so that if you ever feel stuck, you need to know what you want to not feel stuck. Like, how do you want to feel when you're not stuck? And work towards that. So you don't even need a plan. You just need to know how you want to be or feel, or what does that happy cherry look like, or that peaceful cherry look like. and strive to get there. And you'll find a way.
Absolutely. And I believe it's safe to say that it's everything is about you. You need to know who you are. You need to know what you want to do, and just keep moving in life, moving ahead.
Yes. And it doesn't make you selfish. It just makes you sure of, what you need to be.
Absolutely. And I think it's time for us to rescript those messages. Or thinking about you as being selfish. No, it's not.
No, it's not. Because if you don't think about yourself, you don't know about yourself, there's no way you'll be able to help another human being. And I think being a parent, or being responsible for being a wife or a husband, Akshay, it's a great responsibility. And for me, I'm always striving to be deserving of that responsibility. So unless I look after myself, I'm not going to be looking after my family, my community. I mean, even as a friend, being a good friend is a responsibility.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Right. Super. So with that, I believe we've come to the last question of this lovely live talk, lovely conversation. So what message would you want to give to all those watching us? I mean, you've got quite a few messages today, but what is that?
What's the parting
message?
Oh gosh. Well, if in doubt, go for a walk. In nature. I know that we were the title of this interview, Akshay, was healing through hiking, and it's not necessarily healing because you're in a bad place necessarily, but I think definitely include movement in your day-to-day life, because I think when movement does change your mind. It changes the state you're in. If you're frustrated, if you've got a a mind block, you're stuck about an email, don't answer that email. And I do that. I practice it because I've made so many mistakes answering emails in anger, or writing things in anger. Never do that. Stop. Head out. Leave your chair. Walk out. Go out in nature, or even just grab a chair, sit out, take a cup of coffee, sit amongst the plants. Even if you live in a flat in an apartment, grow pot plants, sit with them. Go out into nature, look at something green. But definitely get out there. Moving will change your mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as psychology says, what is inside is outside.
Totally.
So I think nature is the only solution to all.
Definitely. And also the
maladies in life, right?
Yes. And I think another thing is strive to build your own community. And that I'm not talking about community. I mean, you always have family, but sometimes community is what you create, your core community, your people. And I think since 2013, since my diagnosis, that has been my goal. Like, I've always been driven to have that core community of people around me that I can call my family.
Absolutely. Right. Love it. I think it's all about surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah, and you hear entrepreneurs and they say, oh, the 5 or 10 people that you surround yourself with, they will dictate your success in life. I don't see it as people who are millionaires or people who are successful in business. I just see them as people who genuinely uplift you, who bring you joy. And it doesn't, and it's those people I see in my life, because it's easier to give them as much as it is to receive their love and the gift of their company as well.
Correct. No, it is, because we've kind of forgotten the definition of success, right? Success, it's not money, it's not fame.
No,
I mean, yeah,
it's
people
joy.
may feel it. It is joy. Right?
It is
Being
joy.
happy with what you're doing, being happy where you are in this world.
Yeah, and everything just comes to you if you're in that headspace.
It does. All right.
Akshay, thank you so much for having me. Really enjoyed the chat.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being a part of SAMVAAD Live.
Yeah.
It indeed was a lovely conversation, and I'm sure your messages will reach out to people at the right time, when if they are the ones who are watching, the one who will watch the recorded video, and they'll find inspiration to be their true authentic selves and focus on their healing. So thank
True.
you.
And if anyone's watching and they do want to start their own little walking group or want to get into walking and need tips, just reach out.
Yes, it's you can definitely follow her on Facebook, and also follow the group, which is Let's Walk
Townsville, yes. But I host for the Townsville Bushwalking Club as well. So, but hey, look, just walk.
Yes. Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, we'll end the live talk. Thank you, people.
Thank you.
Let me just a second. Where are we?